you all so much for coming. I really, really appreciate it. It's great to see some faces from last year as well as new faces too. And who knew I would have a second book? I mean, really, I'm amazed myself. So it opened up for pre-order recently, and as you all know, that runs through September 4th, I think. And that really helps the author sort of set their commission rate for people to get excited and order their book ahead of time. So that's always appreciated. I know a lot of people in here have already ordered it, so thank you very much. And I have my book from last year, Consider the Light, available. If anybody wants a copy and doesn't have one, I'm having a sale today for $16 for that. And Tim, my husband, who's right over here, is responsible for all the money. I have tried, and I'm getting better at all of the apps and sort of like how to take money, and I don't do it right all the time, but it's a learning process. And we also have, as you know, I'm part of a group called the Women in the Visual and Literary Arts, which is how I know Melody. We have a collaboration that's coming up where an artist and a writer come together and create something written and from the artwork or vice versa, but they collaborate on that and create something really fabulous, which ends up in a book that we publish on Amazon. And I have some copies from 4 years ago in the back available, as well as an anthology, which we started last year. Denise, if you want to stand up a sec. Denise is our editor extraordinaire. We have submittals open through the end of the month, and our theme this year is power/empower, however you want to interpret that. And there's poetry opportunities as well as fiction and nonfiction, short, and then short story. So hey, writing.
Cover art.
Cover art, yes, indeed. Artwork as well. So that's a great opportunity. So today I just wanted to share a little bit about this book. The title is Running with the Beasts, and this is the cover art. I did collaborate with Brooke Summers Perry again, so it's the same artist from my first book. And I met Brooke through WIVLA, and we did a collaboration 2 years ago, and that was the cover from last year, what I launched last year. The cover art for my book, but also it ended up on the cover of our anthology booklet, so that was really exciting. And this one, she took a little bit of a different approach in terms of, I guess, the artistic process that she did. She started with acrylics and painted on the canvas, and it was from reading the manuscript and taking a lot of the themes and elements that she was picking up from that. So you notice like a clock. I have some things about aging and, going through and my experience in that and reflections, as well as a bike, because there's some stories about my biking life as well. And then I think the color theme sort of started to come with her. And then running is the person sort of running in here that's in there as well. And so she created it out of the paint, and then you can take your canvas essentially and copy it into a canvas that can be printed and sent back to you. So she had it sent back, and then she used paint again, and then she created more layers in here, then sent it back, kind of back and forth, and then layered it. So if you really look at it for a while, you start to see some of the themes coming out that you don't see at first. So really appreciate that. She couldn't be here today because she and her family have been on a week-long vacation, and they're driving back today. But she really wanted to be here. Anyway, let's have a hand for Brooke. And also collaboration, because it really does matter. It's great to be in a group of people who are creative people and love art and writing. It's very inspiring. All right, so I am going with the same press. So I did send this manuscript out. So as you guys who are writers know, you write maybe a book or you write some poems or stories, and then you maybe get those published in a literary magazine and or you put it into a book, and all of that starts happening, but you're already working on the next thing. You're not really thinking about that piece of work. If you've completed it, it's sort of, it's there and it's back there and it's part of who you are, but you're also creating something new. And I don't know about you, but I get excited about the new thing. So I had been starting another manuscript, and before I knew it, Running with the Beast had evolved from that. When I started working with a couple of people who were reading the manuscript, Holly Lynn Walrath and Catherine Copel were my editors. Both of them independently came back and said, I think this is 2 books. And they were kind of pulling the themes out for each, and a little bit similarly. So, in fact, I did pull out this one, and I sent that in. And then I have another one that I'm sending out now that is that second manuscript. So yeah, always sort of writing the new thing. So I did send it to a few new places, and I didn't get it picked up, and I thought, well, maybe I'll see if Finishing Line Press has a portal for people to send their manuscripts in for authors they've published before, and lo and behold, they did. And it's free, so hey. If they've published you before, they'll take a look at what you have. And it took a little bit, but they did accept the manuscript, so they are the publisher as well. And so it's similar in structure. It has poetry and short created nonfiction in it. And so in kind of reflecting back, it might have been a good idea to just do one whole book with both of those, but hey, you know, it's a process, not an event, I guess. So now I have 2, but they kind of talk to each other, I guess, is the point. So if you enjoyed the first book, you would probably enjoy the second book. Anybody have any questions or anything before I dive into our reading? Any thoughts? Or... Yeah, Marcia.
Usually they do only chapbooks. Is this a full length?
This is a chapbook as well. Yeah, so, yeah. And good question, because a full book would be somewhere probably above 40 pages, more in the sort of 60 to 80 pages range. For a poetry book anyway, that's typical. But for a chapbook, it's less than 40. In this case, they ask for less than 36 pages. And so also in the creative nonfiction pieces I have in there, I break them up a little bit into mini chapters so that they, as a reader, you might experience them more as a poem than as a story. So yeah, it doesn't throw you off.
I think they used to be only poetry chapbooks, so it's kind of great news because I have chapbooks that are short, but I also have 6, maybe I can.
It is good news, and I think, and I know other people that are submitting chapbooks that are flash, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, and those are getting accepted. And hybrid is something that's becoming more popular. So if you've got that, send it in. It's always a matter of finding the right match. And I always find that if I read what they're publishing, that helps me understand if I might even have a chance. You know, because some of them, there's no chance. Like there are some presses that like I'm not writing what they're looking for, and it's okay because that's what we as readers love, right? It's all the variety that we can enjoy out there. So yeah. Any other questions? Cool. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and read a few things. The first thing I wanted to read was a poem that I wrote. I'm calling it sort of a keystone poem in the collection. It opens the chapbook. And part of, and just so I didn't do this, but I have a little about the book. Let me read that before I dive into this. So the collection, Running with the Beast, explores the survival of women in a world shaped by capitalism, inequality, and the passage of time. Blending poetry and creative nonfiction, the collection journeys through the complexities of contemporary life, illuminating themes of resilience, empowerment, and reclamation of feminine strength. These pieces speak especially to women seeking transformation and reconnection to their power at every stage of life. So that kind of gives you an idea of the pieces that are in there. So as I read this first one, you'll see it's about the different generations of women in my family, including myself, and our struggle as women to get ahead in this capitalistic sort of, sorry, but patriarchal world.
It can break it to you, but
sorry, not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. It's called Finding Work. My mother's mother fed school students creamed beef and mashed potatoes, while Wall milked cows on the farm. She was 48 when cancer took him. For cash, she rented out the top floor of their house. 6-foot-tall Aunt Betty moved her operatic voice to New York City to sing arias at Carnegie Hall. Her hopes fell into the bottle with no funders for her debut. By 33, she was dead. At 17, my pregnant mother finished high school, married, moved to the Rust Belt. By 25, 4 kids in grade school, she was told it was time for her to go to work. As a latchkey kid and the only girl, Mom called me her little helper. I learned to do women's work, to use my hands to clean, wash, sew, mend, bake, cook. I made my own money, sold Avon in 6th grade, babysat through junior high, flipped McDonald's burgers, learned to type and take shorthand in high school. At 17, I moved out, pursued college, greeted bank visitors, wrote resumes for students, cooked Arby's roast beef, flunked tennis. My quest to be my version of free drove me to the Houston oil boom. Here, I nickel and dimed my budget, delayed going to college. On this wheel, I was spinning, going nowhere. But I kept going and going and going. Now, the next one I want to read was actually published in the Public Poetry Anthology, Unbroken. And they still have a call for, submittals. They have another one that's Witness is the theme. So if you want to send your work in, this is a great press. It's part of the Houston Public Library. So, always a good thing. Support your library. All right. And this is called Listening to Lou Reed Sing. I Heard Her Call My Name, with Mo Tucker on the drums. And if you don't know Mo Tucker, she was the drummer for the Velvet Underground. So, who was the dead girl he heard calling him out of the Velvet Underground? Standing above the bass drum, upside down on the floor, banging tambourines with mallets, Mo split my listener's mind. Early drums were made of hollowed tree trunks, alligator skin stretched across, struck with hands. In 6th grade, my mom gave my drums to my brother. She said, "You can't play them because you're a girl." That fateful forking over of my drum kit left me striking my wood tips on pots and pans instead of the snare. I am the dead girl now. Music notes as shadows lead me back like a conductor. How could I give up my dream to play in a rock and roll band? It's not impossible to find your rhythm. It's never too late to pick up the sticks. When you're dead, no one can kill you. Don't say you can't live the life of your dreams. All right. The next one is was in an anthology from the White Wall Review, which is actually out of Canada. Crystal is from Canada. And the theme is metamorphosis for this one. I think I read this one on the podcast. The women rallied as time slipped away. Everyone was content. But what was happening with their clocks? Did the women believe the canard about clocks shrinking in the spine or shoulder and then expanding in stomachs later? Or how about the one that says, if you have enough clocks vibrating at the same frequency, your bones stay elastic? In the beginning, women believed their pendulums would swing forever. But then they heard their grandmothers' and mothers' gears seize one by one. Still, they remained filled with hope. They pushed their clocks away. The clocks held their regrets. The women stood behind muted, cream-colored doors. Now they burned sandalwood and magnolia incense after the collapse of others. Suspended between each sunrise and sunset, they found a sense of meaning. They sought refuge in the silent, moss-covered mountains. They sipped dirty martinis, tattooed their skin, and painted their lips red. Here, clocks lost their man-made electric charge. Eventually, memories began to fade. Clocks melted. Thank you. And I'll read one more, and then we'll have our open mic. I'm just very excited. Okay. This was actually in the Bayou Review in fall of 2024. And I've made this sort of a tradition to submit to the Bayou Review, which is University of Houston Downtown Press, every fall, because I've been in there for 3 years in a row. We'll see if I can get in this year. But I love a student-run press, and I think it's always a good thing. They also take art, so, you know, it's a good press to submit to. And this is a short story, so since I have some stories in the book, I wanted to read one of those for you. And it's broken up by headlines, essentially, and a dated headline or dateline in each section. For immediate release, Houston, Texas, March 19th, 2008. Sorry, Kathi, but it's no longer necessary for you to serve as Vice President of Human Resources for our company. You can throw away your catbird, evil Director of HR, stress balls. Effective immediately, you will no longer be having Friday morning tacos with your team, nor will you be responsible for ensuring legal compliance and effective HR operations. No more need to collaborate with the executives. It's time to turn over your company ID, office keys, and computer. No, we don't need your resignation letter or a 2-week notice. Let's just agree to disagree. You can pack up your 47-year-old bottle blonde hair and blue suits today. We wish you the best in your future endeavors. Newsflash, a woman is sold on the American education market. Kent, Ohio, January 1st, 1987. One day in the early 1980s, a coworker at the bank in my Ohio hometown brought in a newspaper from Houston, Texas. Page after page was filled with opportunities for people with administrative skills, as I had. Houston, it turned out, would be my promised land, where jobs were aplenty with the oil boom. I worked hourly administrative roles for large companies for many years. I thought being seen and not heard only extended to children in those days. Soon I learned it also applied to women. In 1985, I decided to return to college, believing a degree would help me advance my career. I spent 2 years in community college in Dallas, then returned to Ohio to finish an undergraduate degree. When I returned, I did so believing my mom's university employee benefits would continue. That is, tuition would be fully paid. As luck would have it, the university changed that policy my first year back, barring any child over the age of 25 from receiving tuition. It was my goal to have a college degree in my back pocket, even if I had to empty those pockets first of all of my cash and a bit of creative financing. A day in the life, corporate leader, Houston, Texas, March 14, 2008. Most days, my husband and I would stop at Starbucks along Shepherd Drive and chat with our barista, Robin, before getting on the highway and heading to our jobs. Walking into my office, I had a pit in my stomach. My team wasn't there. The CEO had called them into the conference room. I was not invited. She was concerned about a candidate being rejected because of a failed criminal background check and wanted to change the protocol in a way that was not in line with our legal counsel. She wanted to do it her way, having reached a level of incompetence akin to the Peter Principle. She had the authority to put the company and me in a liable position should something go wrong. This wasn't the first time her actions made me feel uncomfortable, but it would be the last. Hot tips: how to make a career transition. Houston, Texas, September 1st, 2007. It turns out I fired myself from that job. I wanted to redirect my path. I wanted to work with people who shared my ethics and fulfilled my desire to positively impact others. But I was afraid to give up my idea of myself, my idea of success, the perceived power of my VP-ness, the alluring trap of corporate life, and the salary. Before I made the break, I put my emotional support team together. First, I hired a coach who had me create a list of at least 25 in each category of what I wanted to be, do, have in the next 5 years. I answered questions like, what could you keep from accomplishing your goals? What could keep you from accomplishing your goals? Who can help you? Who can stop you? What are you willing or unwilling to do to reach your goals? If you don't make it, what will your most likely excuse be? To get through my day job, my coach said, be amused, be Maxwell smart, be a double agent, don't quit. Build a cushion of cash while you figure out what you want next. Do what makes you happy, my husband said. We'll figure out the rest. Look to the future, my therapist said, not the past. Go for your life. Breaking news, Eagle launches new company, Houston, Texas, April 1st, 2008. Did you know eagles look for and fly into storms? As storms approach, lesser birds head for cover, but the eagle spreads its wings and with a great cry, soars upon the powerful updrafts to heights of glory. Eagles use storms to lift them to great heights. Many of you know Kathi is an avid cyclist. Her bike often acts as her wings. And you know she is fearless in the pursuit of her business and professional goals. And just like an eagle seeks out opportunities to soar, so will she. Scoop, entourage spotted at Houston's hottest spa. Houston, Texas, September 1st, 2008. Sitting in the salon chair as I waited for my hair to change back to its natural color. A medium brown with caramel streaming through. I talked with my stylist about the ins and outs of owning a business. He was prepping my hair for a photo shoot with my image artist. She called my new look tailored and approachable. Now I was ready to shed the evil director of HR vibe. So it's been a journey.
And now you're retired.
And now I'm retired. Yay. Thank you so much for coming. This means so much to me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.